much.
It's more than they can receive. I'm talking about stuff they're not willing to receive or not ready to receive, or it's not the time yet. And I start talking about access stuff or whatever, and I sound like I'm stupid to myself, like I don't know what I'm talking about, and I have to explain it to them different and explain it to them differently.
Yeah.
And what I found is that is where they're not willing to receive. So then I just zip it, and I shut up, and I don't say anymore. And sometimes I work in a drug rehab facility for like celebrity drug rehab. There's like the wealthy people fly in from all over the country and get rehab for, you know, crazy drug use. Some of the stuff, I can't believe bodies can go do what they do. And often the only thing I give them in a 6-week treatment session, I'm seeing them 2 or 3 times a week, is how does it get better than this? And that's the only tool that I give them, and it changes everything in their life. Or I might say, what if nothing is ever wrong with you? And I don't really even explain it in an access sense, but I'll just say, what if nothing you've ever done was wrong? Mm-hmm. And that's all they can receive at that time, and that changes so much for them. So when you are able to be this question of only gifting them what their person is willing to receive, you get more change than if you give them more than you can receive. And you've all doing access, and some of you are new to access, and it's so exciting, and you want to share everything with everybody and everything with your family and tell everybody you know about it, and most people are going to be like that. Like that, and they'll put up walls and barriers and go away. But if you just can meet them where they are, they'll get so much more out of it, and it's much more fun that way. Okay.
I've really noticed that when I work with anorexia, when they're really in the acute stages, just to hear, have them receive what if there's something wrong with you, is huge.
Right.
Even if they can receive that, is
just a drop of that,
just
even.
A drop of it.
Yeah. Okay. So what if nothing was wrong with you? What if nothing you've ever done was wrong? It's huge. It's huge. Yeah, and it can change someone's whole life. Just those words. Okay? So this is a question I am all the time with every patient who walks in my room, with anyone I talk to. I don't usually talk to most people about access unless they ask me a question. Because if they're asking a question, they're willing to receive somewhere. They're wanting to receive something. They've just opened a door. Okay? So what are the infinite possibilities for this session, this person and me, is another question you can ask. And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond. The bigger space you are, so you can also do the expanding out exercise, or just, expand out before you go in. The bigger space you are, the more the person you are working on has available to choose from. If you are willing to expand your universe, you will explode their limitations. But they may choose not to receive, and that's okay. It has to be their choice. Don't turn your intensity of presence down to match their contraction. Okay, that's really important too. You don't want to turn yourself down. You stay as big, and they'll meet you where you are, but you don't want to contract you to match them. Okay? And we will tend to do that. We'll tend to try to understand what's going on with someone and contract yourselves to understand it, to get bigger and more space, and you have more awareness of what's going on also with them, and your questions work better. It has to be, don't turn your intensity to match them. Invite them to be more at the energy of contribution you're willing to be and receive. And what contribution can I be and receive from this session also? It's a good question. Once you have the tools, what you do with them is up to you. We can give you recommendations about what works, and what you have to do is trust that you know. Please know that if you suddenly decide that you need to put your hands on somebody and go oldings, that's the right thing. Okay? And some of you guys are playing around with that, which was really cool to see. If your hands want to go to another spot, go there. The worst thing that can happen is you just moved your hands. Ooh. And you can take if you're uncomfortable and your hands you can move your hands, you can take them off. If it's an hour session, you don't, like when you're doing crown and perineum or crown and sacrum and your hands are there for an hour, you can take them off, shake them out, wipe the sweat off, put your hands back on. It's okay. You're not going to damage anybody. You're not going to stop the energy from flowing. If that's what your hands feel like doing, maybe that's actually what's required. Okay? Your body has a lot of awareness and knowledge, and it may be that something needs to move and change there, and that's why you feel like taking your hands off. Okay? And some of the things, like when you're on different points, when to move to another point, you can have you feel uncomfortable and you feel like your hands want to move. That could be the awareness. And you can ask, do my hands want to move? Is the energy stopped? In your head. Just ask your head yes or no, yes or no. It could be that you feel bored. And you've also run the bars, and it's kind of the same thing when sometimes your hands just move to a new spot. Sometimes you just space out and then you're back like, oh, what am I doing still here? Right?
So I have a question about that boredom thing. I get it a lot when I'm doing bars or running body processes, and I'm just thinking, well, maybe this is not my thing. Like, what is that boredom? Because it's like, I'm done. I want to do something else.
Well, is it yours? That's a good point. Right, they may be bored, or they may be spaced out, or they may want something different. It may be time to change something. So when that shows up in my universe, or if I start looking at the clock, how much longer? Oh my God, it's only been 10 minutes. That's when I start to ask questions about what's going on. You know, is there something else I should be doing? Is there a question I should be asking? Is there a question here? Maybe ask these questions, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be that will allow me to gift what this person is willing to receive? Start asking questions about what's going on. Right. And, it's usually something's ready to change is what I find. And it's not really bored. You're just kind of like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, antsy.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get antsy because energies are changing and moving, and sometimes things will ache, your arms, your hands. The advanced body processes when they first were doing on the person who's gifting were so intense you almost couldn't keep your hands on the bodies. Your whole body would get intense, and that was just like, you had to be there with it. Like, is this energy still moving? Yes. And I'm like, really? And you had to stay with it. That was what was right. I didn't have to, no one had to get in my head, but I stayed with it because that's what the energy was asking to do. So anything's possible is basically what I'm saying, and nothing's wrong. And if you ask questions, you can get more awareness about what is going on. So play around with it. You have 2 more days of working on bodies. Play with this stuff. If you have any, something come up. Almost everything that you think, feel, or perceive in your body when you're working on another body is theirs. Everything. Even if it feels like your story, like, what am I going to get for dinner or something, you start to spit. Somehow that's like 99% of the time related to the person you're working on. Sometimes you don't know exactly what it is, but what you feel in your body, what you're thinking about, has something to do with the person you're working on. And the more you're aware of it, the more clear it becomes that it's not yours.
That's so interesting because I was working with someone, and usually I don't have a hard time just being present with them, but I was having such a hard time staying focused. Finally, it dawned on me, and I asked, is this mine? Is this me? And just like that, I realized it was the person I had on the table.
Right.
But I
Exactly.
immediately assumed it was my inability to stay present.
Right. Right. Which do you usually have an inability to stay present, or was that right?
That's why I knew.
That's
what's going on here.
Yeah. If it's some thought or energy or way of being that you're not usually like, chances are probably that it's not yours, that it's theirs. And then you can ask them a question about it. How you do. How's the session go for? How you be? How's this going for you?
What are you making for dinner?
What do you have? What are you making for dinner? What are you perceiving? Is another question. I don't like to ask what you're feeling too much because that can contract them. What are you perceiving in your body? And you can give them permission to give you that information right from the start. Let me know anything you're perceiving in your body, because that'll help you too. And it'll also allow them to be more aware of their body while you're working with them. So know that you know. .com. Is that good? Did I just give her that segment? It's my website. I think if there's anything in the back. In the back there's a lot of ESCs.